All right, so it's been about a week and a half since the Google HCU was completed, and effectively, who's your daddy to a bunch of our websites? We lost a bunch of traffic. But of course, whenever we lose traffic, we start asking the question, what do we got to do to get it back? And as soon as we started putting together a little bit of an action plan, Google goes, oh, here's a couple more updates, drops the spam, drops the core the next day, which are still in effect and will be for a couple more weeks, which puts us in a little bit of a strange predicament because things are still very volatile. But we want to be taking some sort of action. But what? There's a lot of chatter out there in the community about what do you do next, right? To try to fix if you lost traffic. Anything from destroy and rebuild to do nothing until these updates are done, and then some stuff kind of in between. If there's anything that I think is absolutely true, is that nobody really knows. There are a lot of good theories out there, and I'm hearing a lot of stuff that sounds like it makes sense. That is, until you look at the current rankings and the current SERPs, and then you put that against that stuff that sounds right. Yeah, this might be why I lost my traffic. And you look at the rankings and you go, well, that doesn't line up at all. So we're in a position where we want to be taking some sort of action. But what do we do when there really is no clear consensus within the community or even within the SERPs? So I put together 10 things that I am doing. And look, these are soft touches. I'm not doing a destroy and rebuild right now. I'm trying to romance my website. This isn't me trying to shove my tongue down his throat. I'm here for the soft smooches. This is the, little bit of that going on. I'm in a movie theater with my website doing the yawn and putting my arm around it. I'm trying to romance it. So I'm going to share with you those 10 soft smooches that I'm trying to do right now that's just going in and taking action on my website. Very quickly, my name is Rob. I'm just some regular guy from the Midwest that learned how to do a little bit of blogging over the last couple of years, which helped me make a little bit of money through affiliate sales and also earn me about 500,000 clicks to my website over the last 12 months. I'm not some genius. I'm not an SEO smarty pants. I'm just some bozo that was dumb enough to not give up and smart enough to keep on going. I want to talk about all of those things. And now, because the HCU has dropped right whenever I started my channel, we're going to be talking a lot about how do you dig yourself out of these holes? How do you come back from the dead or something there close when your website gets hit like this? So if blogging, making money online, and now getting smacked around and Who's Your Daddy by Google is your thing, hit subscribe. We're going to be talking about all of it in the future. All right, here is my list. I'll put this in the description down below. And remember, this isn't an overhaul. I'm not trying to redo everything. I'm just trying to soft smooch. I'm trying to romance my website here just a little bit by taking action on some things that needed to be taken action on. So starting first with my images, I realized that on a lot of my articles, I didn't have alt text on my images. Every article had alt text on the one image that had the main keyword that I was trying to rank for as the alt text, but a lot of them didn't have any alt text at all. So I went through and I started doing that. And I even started putting a little bit of personality sometimes on those alt texts. Like, for example, my website's called Fizzness Shizness. Today I did one that said Fizzness Shizness playing pickleball because it was a picture of me playing pickleball. So I'm trying to put a little bit of not just making alt text, but trying to put some personality on them, just seeing if it helps a little bit. For image optimization though, I realized that, so I have a plugin on my WordPress called Imagify, and I'll put a link to this down below as well. Whenever I went in here, it said something like it was a crazy number that needed optimized. And after I did the optimization, you basically can just go down here and you can do Imagify them all, and it'll go through and do all of your pictures. I saved about 72% on my image size. So obviously that's going to help with something like load times and just general quality of the overall site. So that to me was a big one that I was missing out on before. We're going to talk about updating the FAQs. Now this one's a little bit embarrassing. So let me actually show you this here at the bottom. So oftentimes whenever I was doing FAQs, I was doing them based off of keyword research, like what needed to be talked about to help me rank. Not necessarily FAQs that people would actually ask that would be helpful, right? And so sometimes FAQs were kind of dead simply for putting in certain words into the article, hoping that it would help them rank. So I've gone through and actually tried to do some where I'm actually asking questions that somebody might ask that would take them to this type of article, like are over-the-ear headphones, this is an over-ear headphone article, are they sweat resistance? Do they stay put during heavy workouts or intense workouts? So I've tried to revamp those questions and those answers in the FAQ to make them actually more legitimate questions versus using it as an opportunity to stuff terms or other keywords that I think that might help it actually rank. Product table comparison. So on that same article, so one of the things I'm noticing a lot on a lot of the rankings that are in front of me that have replaced me are things that basically check boxes of, here's what this thing has, here's what this product has, And so what I wanted to do is do something similar. So ChatGPT is really nice because you can just tell it essentially what you're wanting. So Chat built this HTML for me, did the color coding, and I told it which categories and all that kind of stuff. So these are all of the products that are here actually on this article, and then we just condensed it into sort of an easy to read table. Again, trying to, one, emulate what's currently ranking again, but two, just kind of give a quick snapshot of here's everything that's on this article, and here is like what each one kind of has in general. So again, I used ChatGPT for that, which was really easy. Probably took me about 15 minutes to build this and then actually paste it. It's pretty cool. I have that on a couple of my articles now. I'm gonna do that on most of my sort of product roundup articles. All right, next on the list is categorization. And this one's really embarrassing. This was something that Kazra Dash actually had mentioned to me probably about 6 or 7 months ago, whenever he did a video for me about whenever I was going through an algorithm change. And he mentioned that some of the articles on my site that he was seeing was uncategorized and like shouldn't be that way. And even still, I didn't hit all of them. There were some that I still did not categorize. So I went through all of my articles and made sure there was no more uncategorized whatsoever. Social icons. So there's a lot of talk out there right now about trying to make sure that you are a person who knows what you're talking about and that has some sort of weight in the space. What I was missing from my entire website generally was any type of social icon, right? So I went in and I added all of them I could think of, including like my Spotify one, because I've got a podcast that I do as well. So I put my Spotify link, my TikTok, there's my email, of course, my YouTube, my Instagram, my Twitter or X, and my Facebook. So, I'm probably going to try to find a few other places to add these in as well. But now this is on actually every page of my website. If I scroll to the bottom of this one, it's on every page, right? So social icons were missing and I added all of those in. Updated author box. This isn't that big of a deal, but I felt like I needed to change a couple of things within my author box to just give it a little bit more personality and to really hammer home like my certification, my qualifications of why I'm talking about the things that I'm talking about, right? So just a quick update, and of course that appears now in every article that I write on the website. So that's something I updated. Next, adding YouTube videos. Now, obviously, because Google owns YouTube, I'm trying to kind of make as many correlations through that connection as I possibly can. Now, I've got several articles where I already have my own YouTube videos embedded in them, but something else I just did, and I'm not even sure it matters that much, but I actually put a couple here on my front page of my website. Just called it a section called the Featured Videos of the Week. I made one a review and one about the 75 Hard Challenge, which was one of the topical authority clusters that I had been working on. And again, it just helps give a little bit more context to sort of the front page. Connects YouTube to my front page. Again, hoping that Google maybe looks at that and goes like, hey, like, and if you don't have your own YouTube channel, then find somebody else. Use some of my videos if you need to, and maybe just put a couple of YouTube videos on your front page just to see if that helps a little bit of something. Adding little bits of me/my experience into the articles. As I was reviewing my articles, I found that there were articles that was lacking me in them, especially review type of articles. I review things that I am familiar with, but I think that I got into a habit of just reviewing the products and talking about the products and not putting as much of me into those as I needed to put in. So what I'm trying to do here, again, without revamping, without overhauling, is go in and just put little bits of like, if you're like me, or this is why I use these things every day. Little bits of that I'm trying to kind of sprinkle into my current content. Again, I'm trying to prove that A, I'm a real person, B, that I know what I'm talking about, and C, and there's probably a D and an E and an F, but like I know what these things are. I'm reviewing them for a purpose. I am connected to the things that I am actually talking about. All right, number 9, taking old articles with no traffic and updating them with AI. And so this was something that if I use so there's a tool called Screaming Frog. I'm not even sure if this whole thing's on the screen. I'll try to move it down. So I went through my Screaming Frog and I looked for articles that I had that had essentially 0 clicks whatsoever over the last 6 months. And it turned out there were quite a few of them. A lot of articles here with 0 clicks over the last 6 months. So now what I'm doing is these are getting overhauled with different pieces of AI, where I'm taking essentially pieces of AI and just slamming them into the articles that I wrote and essentially just bolstering them, just making them better, and just trying something new. These were dead to me anyway, so overhauling them is not that big of a deal, and maybe it'll actually spark a little bit of something on there. And that way I don't have to rewrite the entire article. I can just use AI, and what I'm doing is I'm taking, here's what I already said, ChatGPT. Now take this and actually make it better, make it more concise, make it, add stuff into it to make it, better for the user and all that. So I am going through and I am overhauling dead pages on my site. versus deleting them. And they might come down to deletion at some point, but this is what I'm doing as of right now. Now, the last one I'm going to mention is the Screaming Frog, the thing I just showed you, but this time with my meta tag. So there is a column here that shows you all of your meta tags, what the meta tag is, how many characters it is and all that. And I'm concentrating on the character count right now. Meta description link. All right, so I really kind of try to keep everything 160 characters or less, and you can see here I've got a few more that I have to go, but there was quite a few more of these that were way too high, and actually some of them also that were too low. Let me see if I got any that are too low still. Look at that. So I still got some that are kind of floating in that 55 to 60. Now some of these are some of those dead pages that I'm going back through and I'm overhauling. But Screaming Frog's been really nice because it's a nice snapshot of, like, you know, which articles have too many meta descriptions that are too long, right? Very quickly. And that's, I'm going through, and also on the meta descriptions, I am also putting some bits and pieces of me into there, right? Instead of just saying, are you interested in the 75 hard challenge or whatever? Now it's sort of like, you know, I went through the 75 hard challenge, so if you're interested, I have some answers for you in case you're wondering. You know, I'm basically kind of changing some of those meta descriptions up like that. But that's my list of the 10 things. Like I said, I don't think anybody actually knows what they're supposed to be doing right now. But what I don't want to do is I don't want to get frozen up and become inactive and not taking any sort of action whatsoever. Will these things make a difference? Nobody knows. Nobody knows any of this stuff. There are people that are doing complete overhauls of their website right now. They don't know if that's going to make any difference either. I feel like this was the safest approach while still trying to be somewhat not aggressive necessarily, but forward with my actions, right? And so, again, I'll put a link, or I'll put all these 10 things down in the description below in case you happen to want to see them. I'll put a link to the Imagify WordPress login and also the Screaming Frog thing that I'm using here as well. So, you know, hang in there, everybody. You know, I'd be curious if any of you are doing anything, any like small smooches or even big slamming tongues down the throat of your website. Anything that you're seeing making any sort of changes or anything you're seeing in the SERPs. I appreciate you guys talking to me in the comments. Keep leaving those down below, and I appreciate that. And we'll see you in a couple days as we keep wiggling our way through this craziness. And I guess we'll be talking about the core a lot coming up. Well, depending on what it does, right? So that's it. Thanks for hanging in there with me. These are my top 10 soft smooches. I'm probably going to call this video, even though that might get some sort of weird flag from YouTube, so maybe not. So, but we know what we're talking about. We're trying to romance these things. We'll see you on the next video. Peace out.